Welcome back to the Dividend Diplomats YouTube channel, guys. You've got your favorite investors here, Bert and Lanny. It's Thursday. We've talked about a lot this week, guys. We talked about options. We talked about 5 stocks yielding over 5%. Let's get into a dividend investing topic, as Bert and I are both investing for financial freedom via passive income through dividend investing, guys. And this is really about what metrics I'm looking for, not when it comes to evaluate a stock, but when it comes to how high of a yield I want on my portfolio and how high of a growth rate I'm looking for on my portfolio to take me to financial freedom.
Smash that subscribe button, everybody. Give this video a thumbs up. Get ready for a solid Thursday fireside chat with your boys, the Dividend Diplomats.
Bert, man, you've been investing what 13, 14, 15?
Yeah, I'd say so. Probably, yeah. Start really hitting the button on it in 2012, 2013. So yeah, 2013. You've been longer, obviously.
Little bit. So let's call it 15 plus years. We've both been in the game here, both building up massive dividend snowball type portfolios here. And again, we're here to talk to you guys because the goal is to get to financial freedom by living off of dividend income. That is our main source of passive income, guys. It takes a lot of capital, it takes a lot of savings, it takes a lot of time. We're not here to get there in a year, 2 years, 5 years. Again, we're in this journey already 15 years. Now, Bert, why exactly did you choose it and why did I choose? Why did we choose dividend investing?
Well, the vision isn't to be working forever. The goal is to retire and retire as early as you can. And in order to retire early, you have to build up that passive income stream. You have to build up a growing income stream that's going to allow you to cover your expenses, live off that income, and then watch that income stream grow to help cover future expenses too.
Yeah, the goal is to have that crossover point where your income from the dividend stock portfolio, as Bert candidly said, it covers those expenses, guys. The goal is you own these assets, whether they're ETFs or they're shares of your 5 favorite foundational dividend stocks. The goal is that they work for you at this point. No longer are you clocking in or going into your 9 to 5 or your 5 to 9, or you're not, hustling, side hustling, triple hustling to get extra dollars. These companies are working their butts off to increase performance, and then in dividend investing world to increase the dividend payout, right, Bert?
That's right. And that's why part of the strategy is finding stocks or ETFs that are like minded in the sense that you want to find companies that have that history of increasing dividends, that have shown that they can increase that payout, increase that earnings, increase that cash flow through good times and bad, that aren't just pump and dump type stocks that the first sign of trouble, there goes the dividend. There's still plenty of those, but the goal is to find the majority of the ones that will pay you and grow it over a long period of time.
Yeah, I know, the big thing that people mention against dividend investors is the total return. Oh, you're not beating the S&P 500 or the Nasdaq or the Mag 7 or the FANGs or the this, that, zigzag, Bitcoin, Ethereum, you whatever, but we're looking for income, we're looking for growth in that steady income stream without having to sell the underlying assets. Sure, you could sell partial shares of your
Sure.
VOO or your VTI and use that to live off of. We're not trying to take away any of the share count, the base. If anything, we want the base to continue to grow.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. It's about the income, and it's something we just talked about last week on the video, how I have the income that can cover my mortgage payment. That's kind of the goal of it. This basket of stocks, these basket of ETFs that we've all put together now produce that income that can cover an expense like that if I turn it off. But if not, it's working for me and it's growing along the way.
So, to get to financial freedom and to, I guess, thrive in financial freedom, first you need an income, right? So, When we think of, there's going to be two metrics we're going to talk about today. One is the dividend yield that I'm looking for overall on the stock portfolio. And then we'll talk about the growth to the income. But, right now, the forward or the current yield that I'm striving to have in my portfolio is a baseline 3%,
Yeah.
3%.
Yeah. Is there anything in particular that jumps out about that 3% number, Lanny? How'd you arrive at three?
Yeah, I mean, you always want to try to have a yield higher than the S&P 500 because then just buy the S&P 500. You want to, and it's about two times that S&P 500 is typically in that 1.4 to 1.6, maybe 1.3 to 1.7. So you're looking at about two times the S&P 500. Not to say the thought process is, oh, maybe, instead of investing from age 22 to 62 for 40 years, maybe you can invest for 20 years from 22, to 42. And then maybe you can get there, twice as fast because if you're using the same amount of capital at twice the, yield that it's generating, then maybe you can get there faster from a passive income standpoint.
Yeah. So if you're going through it, can you get there two times faster? Yeah. I mean, it's all great and all. And I mean, the beauty of it and the goal is 3% should be able to get you some sort of a cushion where as this income is growing, as the portfolio is growing at 3%, you're still able to buy enough stocks where you don't necessarily have to sell those companies either, Lanny, as you're building that, right? Isn't that the goal here?
Yeah, the goal is, you keep saving, let's say I'm at that point, maybe at 42, I've been investing for, let's call it like 20, maybe 20 plus years. You would think that, okay, if I have a few millions of dollars in a taxable account at 3%, you're talking, gosh, four, five, $6,000 a month in portfolio income. And, again, my taxable account's already over $31,000 producing taxable dividends. So I'm well on my way to achieving those figures.
Yeah, which is absolutely insane when you really break it down and think about it. So that was, I mean, yield
3%.
3%, very simple number. But again, we don't want that yield to just be stagnant and lose purchasing power over time. So what's the second metric that you're focused on here?
Yeah, yeah, as Bert mentioned it, again, everybody can, think about it from like their job. You can go into the job and how great would it be? How would you feel if you worked there for 10 years and never got a single raise or like no wage increase or adjustment? Maybe if you're like, maybe you're a president or a department lead or an executive or a senior manager to where you're already getting paid so much that a raise doesn't matter to you at all. But for a majority of people, raises matter to keep up with, inflation, to keep up with the price of goods just going ballistic, essentially. And you need that dividend growth rate. If you're living off of dividend income, you need the dividend growth to be large. You need it to outpace inflation. So, the metrics I'm looking at, Bert, is 6% is like kind of at least where I want to be.
And it's funny how this answer has changed in the last 5 years. Uh, at the beginning end of that 5 years, you'd probably say, okay, inflation is going to historically be between 2 to 3%. So 6% would be amazing. That'd be double the cost of inflation. And it is on a historical standpoint. But end of 22, 23, 24, and even 25, Lanny, have showed us the importance of making sure that income stream is growing because inflation is real, whether or not some of us have forgotten it over the time or some of us have just never experienced it. But in a high inflationary environment where grocery costs, gas costs, everything can go up, you need to make sure that income stream is growing. In fact, it is probably more critical today than ever that that income stream is growing.
Yeah, exactly. So when you think of my baseline of like trying to get to 6% weighted average dividend growth rate on the portfolio, similar to even just the yield, it's two times inflation here. Historically, inflation 2.5 to 3.5, so 6% is two times. So that way, you're not just keeping up, hopefully, with inflation, but you're actually gaining purchasing power every year. Instead of reaching for the knockoff sparkling water, maybe you can get the Frescas instead. Maybe you can get the what's the other brand that the people used to buy all the time? LaCroix. Yeah, maybe you can get the Primo sparkling water. Just making an analogy here instead of getting the Aldi version.
Yeah, but the Aldi versions would help you get to financial freedom, and the Aldi version's great.
I'm
It's
not. I'm
like,
not knocking that.
I don't know. It sounds an awful lot. You're knocking on the Aldi version, which
Uh,
I'm kidding.
I'm
The
all
Aldi,
like,
Costco, all of it. The Bella V, the Costco one, they're all great. But yeah, I mean, there's a theme here if you notice with the dividend yield and dividend growth. It's two times the S&P 500, two times the rate of inflation. So that's really the cool part about this.
and then right now is Bert and I. Bert's investing a ton. I'm investing a ton. Bert just covered over in his video about his dividend income paying for his mortgage every month. We went over. Oh yeah, he's dripping though right now. So dividend reinvestment plan. So like every dividend he gets is buying more shares, is building his income. So right now I'm still also in the growing of the income phase right now instead of turning off the drip.
Mhm.
Turn off the drip when you're using the dividends to pay for your life. So right now, having the drip at 3% and having the dividend growth continue to happen at 6%, the income, let's just say the income, if I didn't have to use it and I stopped investing, but I didn't have to use it, let's just say, let's just keep it simple. My income then theoretically should grow 9% per year in the portfolio.
Yeah, it's a great benchmark to hit, Lanny. That 9%, very simple, very easy.
Now, again, will I, if my yield, because if it grows so much, the portfolio, the yield will drop. And now, am I going to start adding in, stretch for yield? No, 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 no. But you would hope that if it's growing, that means the growth rate is higher because earnings are better.
That's right. That's how it should function, and that's exactly why you don't focus on one or two small years in the grand scheme of things. You focus on that long-term average. It's a fantastic point.
Exactly, guys. So that's where I'm at. Bert, I don't know if you have any thoughts, if we want to do a separate video maybe in the future about where you're trying to be
Yeah,
at.
I mean, it's solid. What am I going to say? Those are terrible metrics. No, 3% yield, 6% growth rate is fantastic right now. Um, it's it's very solid, very reasonable. There are a lot of companies and a lot of funds that can help you achieve that through different ways to get to that combination. And that's what we hope to show you here on this channel.
Guys, let me know what you think about the 3%, 6%. What are you striving for your portfolio? What dividend growth are you trying to get and reach every single year, or at least an average over a period of time? Let me know. Let Bert know. Let the diplomats know in the comments.
If you haven't already, everybody, subscribe to the channel, give this video a thumbs up, and remember, you're either with us or you're against us, Jack.
That was Bert the Hurt Man and Lanny from the gosh damn Dividend Diplomats. Over.